How are you? My name is Ariel Lacayo Arreñal. I'm here today at Contento Wine Bar in East Harlem. Please join us. I am here at Contento restaurant in East Harlem, and I'm going to be talking with Yannick Benjamin about his restaurant that he's just opened. He's a sommelier, and I'm very excited about it because I am also, and we're going to have a lot of things in common, and I'm going to be asking him a lot of good questions about that combination of the food with the wines.
Well, thanks for coming to Contento Restaurant.
My pleasure.
So how I really got into wine was because my parents made a career in the restaurant business, and I followed in their footsteps. My two uncles also had a very great career in the restaurant business as well, and my cousin Joel. And I always was enamored by this industry. I never looked back. I've always loved this industry. But I've always loved agriculture. I love history. I love being around people. So that's what I think wine is all about in beverage and food. So there's so many different aspects about it. But I think the main one is that connection to family, a connection to where my parents are from in France, and that kind of concept of agriculture and geology and soil all wrapped up into one.
Got you. For what you're telling me, this is going to be definitely a big success. Yannick, I'm very interested to see how do you combine certain food with certain wine. For example,
Yes.
I have seen your menu, and I see you have ceviche, you have you have Peruvian food.
Yes.
I mean, for the Peruvian food, it's a little bit complicated
Yes.
because we have to find a certain good wines
Yes.
that go with it.
Yes.
Talk to me about the ceviche. What are you going to combine with ceviche? Such a difficult thing to do.
Yes. Well, I absolutely, I love what's happening in Peru. Some of the best restaurants in the world, some of the best chefs are in Peru. And I'd like to think that the chef that we currently have, Oscar Lorenzi, is one of them. I mean, he's an absolutely wonderful human being, so passionate about food, he's so passionate about wine. And so, maybe when you think about it, you think that ceviche is probably a hard dish to pair, but in actuality, we have so many wonderful wines that actually goes with the acidity. The first thing that really comes to mind that I think, is a really good kind of South American Sauvignon Blanc that I think you can play with. I think you can also probably play with some Torrontés, even though Torrontés has its reputation of being too floral and too spicy. That's something I would probably consider pairing with ceviche.
Can you please tell me why do you choose this location?
Well, this location that we're at is in East Harlem. Contento Restaurant is part of the historic El Barrio. And this was the name where it really comes from, means happy both in Italian and Spanish.
Right.
And we really wanted to pay homage to these two really important immigrant groups that had such a great influence here in East Harlem. So in the early 1900s, this was predominantly Italian. Then it changed over into mostly Spanish people,
Right.
South American, Puerto Rican, Mexican, so on. And so this was our way to pay homage to them because they add so many layers to this beautiful area. East Harlem too was also incredibly affordable, and my vision was to try to have a restaurant that was going to be completely accessible. And why accessible? And what I mean by accessible, I mean, well, one, from the price point, but also myself, perhaps some people don't know, I am in a wheelchair, I'm a paraplegic, I have a disability, and I was in a car accident at the age of 25 years old. That left me permanently paralyzed, so I started working in a restaurant since the age of 14. Now trying to find the space, re-gut the whole place, and trying to make it ADA, which is ADA compliant, American Disabilities Act, and making sure that it's a place that I can work at without any obstacles was very challenging. And this was really one of the best places, and I still wanted to stay in Manhattan because I'm born and raised in Manhattan. I grew up in Hell's Kitchen, but in Hell's Kitchen in Midtown, prices are way too high, and this was really the best place that can kind of offer everything that I was looking for.
Yannick, I'm very interested also, what is your background in the business? Where have you worked? Have you worked as a sommelier, as a server, as a manager?
So my background simply is one of my first real jobs. I consider where I learned everything. My formative years was at Le Cirque 2000 under the tutelage of
excuse me.
Ciro Macchioni. And then after that, I went over to work with under Lydia Bastianich at Felidia, at Oceana, at John George. And then recently, up until recently, I spent a good 10 years, working at Ledoux's Wines, which was one of the best wine stores in New York. And then another 8 years at the University Club, which is a private club where I was the head sommelier. And then now here I am at Contento Restaurant.
And with that background, You have to be a 4 hitter in any baseball team.
Exactly.
In any baseball team.
Oh my God, thank
So
you.
I don't have any doubt whatsoever. This
Thank
is
you.
going to be
Thank you for your
a
support.
great. No, of course. I mean, you have worked in the best restaurants of New York City.
Thank you.
You have an incredible background. My respects to you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.